All right. So, let's review Romans 3 1 to 29. I haven't actually, well, I tried to study it a little bit in my devotions, but I haven't really reviewed it, so we'll see how I do. Sort of fresh. All right. Romans 3 1 to 29. What advantage then is there in being Jew, or what value is there in circumcision much in every way? First of all, they have been entrusted with the very words of God. What if some do not have faith? Will their lack of faith nullify God's faithfulness? Not at all. Let God be true and every man a liar, as it is written, so that you may be proved right when you speak and prevail when you judge. But if our unrighteousness brings out God's righteousness more clearly, and so what shall we say? What shall we say? What shall we say? That God is unjust in bringing his wrath on us? I'm using human arguments. Certainly not. If that were so, how could God judge the world? Someone might argue if my falsehood enhances God's truthfulness and so increases glory, why I'm still condemned as a sinner? Why not say as we are being why am I still condemned as a sinner? Why not say as we are being slanderously reported as saying, and some claim that we say, let's do evil to get a result. Their condemnation is deserved. What shall we conclude then? Are we any better? Not at all. We have already made the charge that Jews and Gentiles alike are all under sin. As it is written, there is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands, no one who seeks God. All have turned away. They have together become worthless. Their throats are open graves. Their tongues practice deceit. Poison of vipers on their lips. Their mouths are full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Ruin and misery mark their ways, and the way of peace they do not know. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that whatever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be silenced and the whole world held accountable to God. Therefore, no one will be declared righteous in his sight by observing the law. Rather, through the law, we are conscious of sin. But now a righteousness from God has been made. For righteousness from God, apart from the law, has been made known, to which the law and prophets testify. This righteousness from God comes through faith in Jesus Christ to all who believe. There is no difference, for all sin and fall short of the glory of God and are justified by his blood through the redemption that came by Christ Jesus. God presented him as a sacrifice of atonement. Through faith in his blood. He did this to demonstrate his justice. Because in his forbearance he had left the sins committed beforehand unpunished. He did it to demonstrate his justice at the present time, so as to be just and the one who justifies those who have faith in Jesus. I think it's verse 27, 28, 29 now. So it's where then is boasting? It is excluded. On what principle? On what principle? On that of observing the law? No, but on that of faith. For we maintain that a man is justified by faith apart from observing the law. Is God the God of Jews? Is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles too? Yes, of Gentiles too. I think I got it. I'm not sure if I said boasting. Maybe 27. Where then is boasting? It is excluded. On what principle? On that of observing the law? No, but on that of faith. For we maintain that the man is justified by faith apart from observing the law. Yes. Is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles too? Yes, of Gentiles too. Okay, perfect. Then I got it. All right, so for today, we're going to try to go... Oh, perfect. We're going to finish chapter 3, and we're going to chapter 4 of verse 1 of chapter 4. So, chapter 3, verse 30 and 31. Okay. So, yes, of Gentiles too, since there is only one God, who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Ooh. Yes, of Gentiles too, since there is only one God. Okay, since there is only one God. Since there is only one God. Since there is only one God. Since there is only one God, who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Yes, the God of God of Gentiles too, since there is only one God, who will justify. Yes, of Gentiles too, since there is only one God, who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised by that same faith. Through that same faith. Yes, of Gentiles too, since there's only one God, who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised by that same faith. Nope. So first it's circumcised by faith, circumcised through that same faith. Okay, so there's no by. It's just through. Okay. Yes. Of Gentiles too, since there is only one God, who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Okay, perfect. Okay. So, let's see if we go back up one. Where then is boasting? It is excluded. On what principle? On that of observing the law? No, but on that of faith. Is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles too? Yes, of Gentiles too, since there's only one God who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Okay. Let's try it again. Where then is boasting? Where then? So this is verse 27 to 30. Where then is boasting? It is excluded. On what principle? On that of observing the law. On that of observing the law? No, but on that of faith. Is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles too? Yes, of Gentiles too, since there is only one faith. Since there is only one faith. No, since there's only one God who justifies the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Who will justify, since there is only one God. Okay. Is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles too? Yes, of Gentiles too, since there is only one God who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised by that same faith. Yeah. Nope, no, not by. Yes, of Gentiles too, since there is only one God who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Okay. So last verse of chapter 3. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the law. Do we then nullify this law by faith? No, do we then nullify this law by this faith? No, not this law. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Not at all. Okay. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the law. Okay. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the law. Okay. So going back, yes, of Gentiles too, since there is only one God, who will justify the circumcised by faith and uncircumcised through that same faith. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the law. Okay. Unjust. Through that same faith. Okay, let's try again. From verse 27. Okay. Where then is boasting? It is excluded. On what principle? On that of observing the law? No, but on that of faith. Is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God of Gentiles too? Yes, of Gentiles too, since there is only one God who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the law. Okay, so I'm going to try all of chapter 3. What advantage then is there in being a Jew? No, actually, no. You know what? No. I'm going to do it later. Let's go back up to... let's go back up to verse 21. But now a righteousness from God, apart from the law, has been made known, to which the law and prophets testify. This righteousness from God comes through faith in Jesus Christ to all who believe. There is no difference, for all sin fall short of the glory of God and are justified by his blood through the redemption that came by Christ Jesus. He presented him as a sacrifice of atonement. Through faith in his blood. He did this to demonstrate his justice, because in his forbearance he had left the sins committed beforehand unpunished. He did it to demonstrate his justice at the present time. What is it? At the present time, so as to be just and the one who justifies those who have faith in Jesus. Where then is boasting? It is excluded. On what principle? On the principle, on that of observing law? No, but on that of faith. Is God the God of Jews only? Is he not the God? Is he not the God of Gentiles too? Yes, of Gentiles too. Since there's only one God, who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the law. Yeah. Okay, so now, perfect. Chapter 4, verse 1. What then shall we say that Abraham? What then shall we say that Abraham, our forefather, discovered? Well, okay, hang on. let's try to figure out these commas here. What then shall we say that Abraham, our forefather, discovered in this matter? What? What then shall we say that Abraham, our forefather, discovered in this matter? I think I'm putting in a commas where there shouldn't be, because what shall we say then that Abraham? What shall we say then that Abraham, our forefather, discovered in this manner? Okay. Chapter 4, verse 1. What then shall we say that Abraham, our forefather, discovered in this matter? What then shall we say that Abraham, our forefather, discovered in this matter? Okay, what then shall we say? What then shall we say that Abraham, our forefather, discovered in this matter? Okay, so going back up, let's learn the new stuff. This is part of verse 29. It's part of verse 29. Yes, of Gentiles too, since there's only one God, who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the law. Chapter 4, verse 1. What shall we say then? What shall we say then that Abraham, our forefather, discovered in this way? Discovered in this way? Discovered in this matter. That's what I thought it was matter. Okay. What then shall we say that Abraham, our forefather, discovered in this matter? Okay. You think I can do it? I think I'm gonna try it. So this is chapter 3 to chapter 4, verse 1. Okay. What advantage then is there in being a Jew, or what value is there in circumcision? Much in every way. First of all, they have been entrusted with the very words of God. Very words of God. What if some do not have faith? Will a lack of faith nullify God's faithfulness? Not at all. And let God be true and every man a liar. So, as it is written, so that you may be proved right when you speak and prevail when you judge. But if our unrighteousness brings out God's righteousness more clearly, what shall we say then? What shall we say? Brings out God's righteousness more clearly, what shall we say? That God is unjust in bringing his wrath on us? I'm using human argument. Certainly not. If that were so, how could God judge the world? Someone might argue, if my falsehood enhances God's truthfulness and so increases glory, why am I still condemned as a sinner? Why not say as we are being slanderously reported as saying, as some claim that we say, Let's do evil, give them a result. Their condemnation is deserved. What shall we conclude then? Are we any better? Not at all. We have already made the charge that Jews and Gentiles alike are all under sin. As it is written, there is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands, no one who seeks God. All have turned away. They have together become worthless. There is no one who does good, not even one. Their throats are open graves. Their tongues practice deceit. The poison of vipers is on their lips. Their mouths are full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Swift to shed blood. Ruin and misery mark their ways, and the ways of peace they do not know. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that whatever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be silenced and the whole world held accountable to God. Therefore, no one will be declared righteous in his sight by observing the law. Rather, through the law, we are conscious of sin. But now a righteousness from God apart from the law has been made known. To which the law and prophets testify. This righteousness from God comes through faith in Jesus Christ. Through faith in Jesus Christ. To all who believe. 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 Oh gosh. Oh man, I'm blanking out here. To all who believe. There's no difference, for all of sin and fall short of the glory of God, and are justified freely by His grace through the redemption that came by Christ Jesus. He presented him as a sacrifice of atonement through faith in His blood. He did this to demonstrate His justice because in His forbearance He had let the sins committed beforehand unpunished. He did it to demonstrate His justice. He did it to demonstrate His justice at the present time. So as to be just and the one who justifies those who have faith in Jesus. Where then is boasting? It is excluded. On what principle? On that of observing the law? No, on that of faith. Is God the God of Jews only? Is God the God of Jews only? Is He not the God of Gentiles too? Yes, of Gentiles too, since there's only one God. Who will justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through that same faith? Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the law. Chapter 4, verse 1. What shall we say then that Abraham, our forefather, oh no, forefather did in this matter? What shall we say then that Abraham, our forefather, did in this matter? I don't think it's did in this matter. Crap, what is it? Discovered in this matter. Oh no. So close. So close. Discovered in this matter. Discovered. Okay. I'm actually very proud of that. Not did in this matter. Discovered in this matter. I know it's not. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I think that's good enough for today. It's just one word, and I'm learning it next. Discovered. All right, so I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna learn it. We're gonna go on to chapter 4. This has been amazing. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.